So we're back on the bench today because it's minus 28°C outside and there's no way we can do a trail video. Working on the Comanche interior right now, and I want to kind of talk through about just finishing this up. This is one of my favorite things to do, is just finally take the truck, the bits and pieces that have all been worked on separately, and then finally start to collect them all and put them all together. And you make a few final changes when you're doing these sorts of projects. Sort of at the end, you kind of make some changes. And one of the things that I decided to do right at the end was actually just black out the interior. We're using the dash, which is well painted here already, and we'll look at that in a minute, but I wanted to talk about the rest of the interior. This is an old work truck. One of the things I'm going to do outside of the black interior is put some seat covers on it, but other than doing some fabric seat covers, I'm not doing any other interior work. It's just going to be everything there and everything blacked out. One of the things that why that's important is because, you know, I wanted to get this part done. When you look in the window of the truck, you don't want to see the glue lines from the Comanche attachment here. You don't want to see any kind of weirdness inside. And this is a trick that I learned from Sean Saley, actually. If you haven't seen Sean Saley's stuff, he's been here at the studio many times. One of the things that Sean does with his trucks is he blacks out everything inside, everything. And that's a really good trick. It's a good tip, and I'm taking that one to heart on this build, because what happens is when you look in the window of one of his trucks, you see the stuff, you see the interior, you see the detail, but you can't really tell if there's depth change in it. You can't tell if the panels go all the way down. There's a few different things, and he does a lot of detail inside. But when you do it like this, black, as you can see, what do you see when you look in the window? Nothing really stands out. And that's kind of what I want. When I want to look in the window of this truck, what I want to see is the dash, which will be colored, and I'm going to see my seat covers. That's all I want to see, and of course the driver and passenger. But what I don't want to see inside is, I don't want to see any of the joints in the interior, because you know that the Comanche here is made of the hard body ABS here and then a 3D printed rear section, and it looks fantastic on the outside and it still looks fantastic on the inside, but I don't want to highlight that detail. Okay, I don't want to highlight the joint or the attachment surface or any of that stuff. So by doing it blacked out, I won't highlight it. It'll just be the color that you see. So this is done here. I brushed all this, and I actually went around and brushed out everything underneath the hood too. So all of this is just blacked out now. When I do the install and have the hood open, I just want to see black in here around the inner fender edge. I blacked all this. That gave me the chance too to actually touch up a little bit of flat black that I had knocked off here on the trim. And I still have to paint this trim ring on the outside of the window, flat black. I'll get to that in a minute. So there's that. The cab is starting to come together. Now this interior is from Ryan Luna. R3 Scale Designs. R3 Scale Designs actually designed all these parts and then prints them. So it's not from Thingiverse or anything. This is like Ryan's designs. And I phoned up Ryan and I said, hey, I tried your XJ seats and stuff and I wasn't too happy with the scale that they worked out in the truck. And so we scaled them all down. Now, I did a whole bunch of pan videos here. So have a look at the way that the interior is right now in the truck before paint. So he's printed me the seats, the console cover, the headrests, and the steering wheel, all in a slightly reduced size. And there's a couple reasons for that. One of the reasons is because I find that sometimes when you put the truck together, if you have the body really low on the truck, like I love to have the bodies really low on the frame so that they're in a factory position, there's no body lift per se, and in doing so, what ends up happening is the frame comes into the interior space a little more, so you don't have as low of an interior on the floor. And then you can see here that it works out perfectly, but the end result is that I have to have the seats have to be cut off a little bit on the bottom. Instead of being a full seat replica with a really thick bottom cushion, they actually just have a short bottom cushion. So you can see that the seats look perfect in there, except they're super short. There's absolutely like bare minimum material on the bottom of the seat. And then the other thing that I had Ryan change from the XJ test parts was the headrest. The XJ headrest was taller. I asked for him to shrink that down, and so I've actually got pretty much everything's exactly the size that I want it now. I'm going to stick the two little pieces of metal in there, and then, you know, so here's the, pretty much there's the perfect Comanche seat right there. I mean, that's perfect. And it's chopped off on the bottom, so I'm really happy with the sizing. Now, the door panels didn't change from the XJ kit because they're matched up with the same door. So obviously his design was perfect there. And the other thing that I changed was the console size by special request. And so what ended up happening was I got the console slightly shrunk as well from the XJ. And that compensates for the C-Max tunnel that's in the truck. This component right here covers over the C-Max tunnel. It covers the frame. It matches up with the footwells down here. And I mean, the thing just fits perfectly. There's a gigantic electronics tray here up underneath the dash pad, which is amazing. And then, of course, you can see here that the console is now actually the right size. So the resizing of the parts sometimes is really all you need to make something really match up really well. And I've learned now to not be afraid to actually call the designer and say, hey, is there a chance that you can do something special for me on these? Because now I've actually got the parts that are the perfect size. So we'll talk about electronics in a minute. Take a quick look here at my time-lapse for spraying the parts. Just something fun that I stuck together for no particular reason. This Jeep, right now I've got the test parts that I'm going to use in it are, I'm going to use a Raffi 55 turn motor. I'm going to use a Hobby Wing 1060 ESC. I still have lots of those kicking around and I love them. They work great. And then I'm going to be using a 1500 milliamp LiPo pack from Helios RC. This is definitely the battery of choice on the bench. Pretty much all the trucks that we have are designed, battery trays and stuff are designed around this battery. I can get pretty much a solid hour and a half, almost 2 hours of run time on the trail with one of these batteries and have a great time doing it. So for the price of these and the quality of the battery, you really can't go wrong with Helios RC, and they stand behind their product. So perfect. Now, have a look here at where I'm going to put the electronics. Of course, obviously the servo mount and stuff's not going to change. The Hobby Wing, actual official Hobby Wing ESC, I find has a much smoother processor than the Dynamite does and a few of the other ones. I know they're all sort of rebranded, but I also think they're reflashed in different ways. My suggestion for that is because the pinouts here for the bridge options that are on the top of the ESC, they're not the same between all of them. Okay, so this one actually has a crawl mode. Some of them don't. Some of them are designed more for on-road and they don't have a crawl mode. They don't have a full-on drag brake. I don't believe that they're actually all the same inside. Maybe they are, but I don't think so. Now, this is a great size of ESC. I love it. Take a look at the size of the dash hole here for mounting stuff, and then have a look at this, if you can believe it. Watch this. This thing literally goes right inside there. I mean, that's the ESC gone. It's gone. That's it. I can mount that right underneath there. It has nothing to do with the dash. There's lots and lots and lots of room for even more stuff, so I can easily put my receiver in there. I mean, this thing has so much space. Okay, look, it's a tiny little ESC. I love these things. The Tiken FXR will do the same job. Many of the little ones will fit in there. One of the ones that will also fit in there is the Castle Mamba Micro, the Micro X. That one will also fit in there in case you're using a Castle Slate combo in these trucks, which I highly recommend in the lower kV range. Run them on a little 3-cell. Anyway, great ESC right here for brushed, simple applications. This pairs up with a 55 turn just perfectly. We've been running them in all kinds of these C-Max trucks, and it's a really nice combo to drive. Very smooth at the bottom, no jittery stuff, and the battery lasts forever. So, lots of spots for electronics. And of course now all we've really got to do next is get the battery in, the electronics in, get the box magnets on. We can finish up the details here now and lay in the windows, and then I'll get the hood hinges going and stuff. You can see that now that we've blacked out all of this stuff on the sides, when you look in the hood, it's like super clean now because it's just all flat black. The 3D prints come in a really nice dark black color. Ignore this motor, that's just for test purposes. And we'll get the electronics squared away, and then of course we're going to finish up these the rest of these incredible, awesome little tires, and then we'll actually have this thing running, and I'll do all the lights, and away we go. So, pretty excited. Thanks for watching On The Bench. Hope this gave you some idea for tips, and convince you guys to all build a Comanche, and don't be afraid to call a designer and ask for something special when it comes to product, because I'm pretty sure they'll be more than happy to help you out. Cheers.